Now I want to look at the chin rip. So a ballistic manipulation relates to taking a body part and moving it beyond its natural range of motion ballistically. So the clinch is an example of that. If I take a ballistic neck clinch and the person is here, the way in which the face would meet my shoulder, if I gave him time, would be for him to pike his hips and bend forward. But I want to ballistically take the head forward, so I create a whiplash effect, bringing it to my shoulder before his hips can bend or his body can catch up. This would be an example of ballistic manipulation. Another example would be if I reached around and grabbed his chin and then rotated his head so it turned. This would be a head control or a head manipulation. And the old adage is, where the head goes, the body follows. So head control can be used in a very controlling, tame way in which you turn the whole body as a unit from the shoulders, or it can be used more ballistically where the head turns first to the point where it can't move anymore, and then the shoulders turn to catch up. There's a chance here that the person could sustain somewhat more damage. And then in the extreme sense, maybe a military sentry removal, something as like that, I could keep the body in place and rotate the head very ballistically without the body moving or allowing it to move, which of course would traumatize the neck massively. The commonality to all combative skills is that they can be turned down in terms of their use of force and violence volume control, to turned right up to maximum volume to create the demise of the subject. So bear in mind that combatives were originally designed in a warring military context. So I could use the same skill within the rules of engagement for a military sentry removal, which would require creating his demise, right down to the rules of engagement of security or a hospital orderly that had to control a psychiatric patient with criminal intent, where he cannot be seen because of litigation issues to create any harm or even bruising. Then the same skill could be employed to simply control the person down without creating any damage whatsoever. So understand that the violence volume dial is dictated by the context of the situation in terms of the content of the volume of use of force that you use. But they all apply. So using two pads, I'm going to show you how we implement the chin rip from a concussive clinch. So the same thing, I would clinch the subject in. Now if this is where his neck is in relation to his head, then when I throw this arm around, I'm going to hit or punch with my bicep as I turn my rotation of my core and I rotate my foot. Same way as if I was punching or slapping or striking with a forearm or striking with an elbow. But I'm hitting him with the inside crook of my bicep, as we'll see. This will put my hand around where his face is, and I will keep the hand loose and lazy so that when I bring this around, it will lazily slap the face structure in a ballistic sense. So if I'm grabbing for the chin rip, then as it states, ideally I want the anchor point to be the chin, as you'll see. But the anchor point could also be the legit bone of the nose, because there's a protrusion, something I can get hold of as a handle. Or I could use two fingers and contour into the orbital socket of the eye and use that as the rotation. Or I could use two fingers and contour into the side corner of the mouth and rotate. Either one of these will allow me to turn the head. And if I turn the head, the body moves. Now I can turn and take the subject down with control. I can turn and ballistically throw the subject to the ground so he impacts the floor. I can turn and ballistically smash the subject into the wall, or I could turn to control while I beat him down, as we'll see. First thing I want you to get is the chin rip. So if this was the neck structure, I want to throw this arm lazily around so that this becomes a concussive incidental strike. And in my loose hand, he's going to hit my shoulder, which would be his face. Now, if I was to grab the mouth and rotate, people might say, oh, there's a danger he might bite you. But if I've concussively grabbed the face and then yanked it very quickly, there's no time or thought pattern that's geared towards biting my fingers, as you'll see. So, using two-pad idea, first motion, same as before, just going to concussively clinch, so clinch him in. Then I'm going to reach, and this will hit, and this will hit, which replicates hitting the side of the neck and hitting the side of his face. Then I'm going to go through the motion simply by bringing my elbow down as I rotate my hips, which then takes his head to that chin rip position. It's from there, I'm going to beat down. So the motion would be clinch, reach for the chin rip, turn, and elbow. In application, from here, I'm concussively reaching for the head. And I'm throwing this arm around to get a ledge of bone. In here, context, I might contour his eye, I might contour his nose, I might take the mouth, not going in the mouth, just the contour, or I might take the chin. So I'm going here, concussively reaching, bringing my elbow down, which rotates into here. And then boom, boom, to finish the shot, is what I'm doing in the context of this. Right? So, you take those, take these, go through it together. Right. So, from here, concussively clinch, present this as the neck, I'm reaching, hitting my own shoulder. So there's an incidental shot here, and an incidental shot that slaps the face. From here, I'm just going to rotate, which gives me a target here, and then 1, 2, 3. So, clinch, chin rip, beat down. Right, concussively clinch the neck. Reach for the face. I've got to reach around as if I'm putting my arm around him, turning my body. So as I get a ledge, bringing this elbow straight to my hip, which rotates his head to the position where he's turned, unstable on his feet, unbalanced, but still upright. Which from here, I beat him all the way down to the ground. So, pull, chin rip, finish. Good. Well, if the subject's significantly taller than you, then to reach around for the head might be difficult, so you need a low-line stimulus. So all we're going to add is a low-line stimulus. So instead of clinch and then reaching and struggling to get his head, I might simultaneously clinch and then knee to get him forward, now reach for the head, now rotate. From here environment, I smash him into the environment and beat him down until it's finished. So the first one we're going to replicate is going to replicate clinching and then knee in the groin to bring the head down. So to show you that, again, imagination is required, visualization. The ideal would be I clinch and knee at the same time, but because I want to get impact, I'm going to clinch, knee, replicate the chin rip, and now I'm going 1, 2 into the environment, beating it down. Right? Here, clinch, knee, brings the head forward, chin rip, rotate, turning, bring the head into the wall, finishing like so. So in application, going from here, clinch knee, grab, rotate, boom, boom, beating him down to